that time again. Welcome to an episode of Rim Shots with Sean, right here in the Rock Ridge Radio Network, brought to you by Barstools and Bandtalk. This has been, we should both go buy a lotto ticket after this, after what we've
Yeah,
tried
it's
to do
true.
to get it done. Couldn't get going in Mexico. We almost didn't get going tonight, but I have the one, the only, Mr. Pete Lesperance from Harem, Scarem. How are you, sir?
No, I'm fine. I'm good, man. How are you? I'm not
Good.
as good as I was when I was in Mexico. I'll tell you that.
Well, I bet, man, and I'm about to
Yeah.
go somewhere warm here, so I'm excited. So this new album, Chasing Euphoria.
Mhm.
So John Freeman sent it to me a month or so ago. I started to tell you beforehand. I was talking to Harry about a year ago, and he said something's brewing. He couldn't say what it was. Um, it's a Harem Scarum record.
Yes, it is.
We started to say you guys have a formula, and it's you sound like Harem Scarum, regardless of what you do. You know, you're playing Harry's voice. Um, you know, talk a little bit about that. I mean, you guys aren't reinventing the wheel, man. You just keep doing what you're doing.
Well, at this point, yeah, you know what? And the truth of it is, on our 16th album, I think out of most bands I know, I think we've reinvented the wheel enough times in this band, frankly. You know what I mean? We were never scared to do whatever the heck we wanted. And the truth of it is, it's just kind of come full circle. And being that Harem Scarum is a chunk of what each of us do, you know what I mean? It's not our full time gig or anything. We love
Yep.
it. It's all good, but we've really kind of focused in on what it is and what it is to our fans because that's important. Like, why are we doing this? You know, and at this point in our lives, at 56 years old, it's amazing to see. We have a really an international fan base. We have fans all over the world, not billions of them, but you know what I mean.
Yep.
That really for us that's enough. So we want to still feed that. We want to give those people what they want, and right down the middle we want to still do the kind of music that we want to do, you know. And right now the truth of it is we make pop music. Really, it's dressed up with a bit of a rock tinge and stuff. You know, there's some rockier tunes, but it is pop music, and that's we are, you know, okay with our formula. And if you're not and you're not a fan, that's super cool. You know, we love bands that do that. We've always loved bands that have great songs. And we came up in a time when hard rock was on the radio and it was good songs. And that's what we got accustomed to. And that's what we like to think we try to make, you know?
Um, I had the opportunity. I think I mentioned to you. I was in a band that opened for you guys twice. And the first album, it was right before that whole grunge thing happened. So you guys came to Halifax, and Halifax was kind of starting to do that shift. The story goes that somebody from Sub Pop Records took a vacation in Halifax, found some bands, came up here, signed a bunch of people. So you guys got here before that happened. You actually you got to do two records, I guess, in the city, and
Yes.
always had a lot of people out. Always had a lot of people go to the shows. I mean, people still talk about those shows to this day, and it's been a while. Um, but through all that, you guys have just survived. I mean, you've gone to Europe, you've gone all over the place.
Yeah,
Some of your contemporaries haven't. I mean, that's got to be quite satisfying for you guys after these years.
it is, you know, I mean, really, we've ended up in a good place with it. I don't think if you told 20-year-old us that this is where we'd end up and this is how long it would take to become really content in your career, you know what I mean? We thought we were going to be rock stars like anybody when you start a band and you're that young, especially. But yeah, you know what? Honestly, we're really happy with where we're at. People keep asking for music. We get to make music. We keep writing records. People seem to like them. Not everybody, and that's like I said, okay, you know. And Yeah, we're getting to do some shows, and it's a piece of what we do. Neither one of us wants to do this full time, and that's really the truth. I mean, who wants to just be singularly focused at this point in our lives? You know, we've made music our lives in so many different ways, and we do so many different things, and we're involved with so many different people, and but it's really a bright spot that we still get to work together and make the kind of music that we make, and it's geared to the Harem Scarum fans. It still makes us happy. Make no mistake, we wouldn't put it out if we didn't think our songs were solid. You don't like our delivery, you think we're like a rock and roll boy band or whatever, right? So song wise, or it's too formulaic. That's totally cool, but that is what we're doing. It's not by accident, you know.
Yeah, and I love it, man. I mean, it's like uncompromising. I think it's great. I mean, those tunes for me still. I put on the first record the other day, and then I put on the second record right after. And I mean, the production values still hold up today. I mean, and I know that you guys did it a lot different than the guy that makes it in his basement these days. I mean, it was more of a production. But if I remember the story correctly, you and Harry were very involved in the production of those albums. Is that accurate?
Yeah, we've been very involved since the beginning. We did the demos that got us the deal. Well, Harry did the demos that got us the deal. We worked with Kevin Doyle on our first record, which was a huge. He did Atlanta Miles and a bunch of huge stuff, Glenn Gould here in Canada, and he's a super popular and incredibly talented engineer. And we learned a lot from him. We really cut our teeth as producers with him. So I believe we co-produced the first record with him, and then we produced the second. I can't honestly remember, man. It's been so long, but anyway, we started producing right away. So yeah, we were heavily involved all along. And the truth of it is, it's because we weren't overly successful. You know, I mean, we had to find a way to make shit work. We were like very do it yourself, like, long before a lot of people were, because Warner couldn't care at the
Right.
time. You know what I mean? We had a deal, and we were on our third album. And they're like, "Oh, it's blowing up in Japan, and it's doing well. Oh, good luck, guys." And we're looking at Canada, right? And no offense, Warner, but at the time we were off everybody's radar, which was totally cool. It made us grow up fast and learn that it wasn't going to be easy, and if we wanted to keep doing it, we were going to have to figure it out. So we did everything, including like the artwork. You know, we did everything. It's just yeah, and that became our kind of our mode of operation, and it stayed the same all along. And now we produce other people and do all kinds of things that we never would have probably done if we were actually successful
Well, and
in the beginning. You know what I mean?
well,
Like
and
right away.
that's interesting because, like you said, everybody wants to be the rock star, and then either reality or whatever sets in, and where you guys have all these different sorts of things going on. The true musician would go, "Oh my God, if I can't be a guitar player, I don't want, that's it. I'm not going to do it." But you guys are doing all these different things that creatively are amazing. Probably scratch the itch that you want to have it scratched, but it must be cool. Hey, you know what? It's time to go back and do a Scarem album and a Scarem thing. I mean, it's got to be satisfying that it's maintained its growth.
It's constantly a shock, man. Honestly, we get email and stuff, well, email, whatever. We get, people on, the socials and stuff hitting us up and going, "Oh, just found your band." He's like 21-year-old guitar player or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, that's just bizarre that it's still kind of connecting with people on to whatever small degree but we're incredibly happy with it. Like, we wouldn't be making records if we weren't still,
Sure.
we built this thing a long time ago. We've been a band for upwards of 35 years. We've been doing this a long time. We made 16 albums, and we're super proud of what we've done. It's not everything, you know what I mean? We have to be, we all like doing different things. We like different kinds of music. We like, different things in life. So it's just the right amount of Harem Scarem that we get. And it's really on our call, whatever we want, and that's how we like it.
So you're with one of the what I would attribute the last labels that do this type of music and put this out. I mean, beyond Frontier, there's not too many folks that are doing it. And in addition to that, you're going to be doing their festival in Italy. I think it's in the summertime.
It's actually next month. It's in
Oh, well,
April.
there you go, creeping up.
Yeah.
What's it like doing a record with them? I mean, is it kind of old school in the way they approach things, or do they just say, "Get us something and we'll put it out"?
No, we just make the records and we give it to them. It's they're great. I mean, we keep them in the loop, and we've done a bunch of stuff with Frontiers. This isn't the first time, so we've
Yeah.
been on the label for years. They've always been great to us, and again, like you said, they're the last bastion of this kind of rock, and frankly, we wouldn't have made a record if they hadn't called us up in June and said, "Hey guys, you want to do another Harem Scarum record?" Because they have a new arm that's doing the touring side of everything, and they said, "You guys want to make a record?" And we were like, "Do we want to make a record?" And then we decided that we did. So it was all good vibes. It's always been good with those guys.
And I mean, I had the opportunity. So he's just, well, when I say recently, 2, 3 months ago, Alessandro left and he's out doing the hardline thing and he's not really doing the writing anymore. Super, super nice guy. Is there a different vibe around those guys, or they just let you do your thing and you guys get it in and then away you go?
That's it. They just let us do our thing. That's all we've ever really done. You know what I mean? I mean, it would be super weird now for somebody to step in and be like, "Oh, we needed this." We'd be like, "Yeah, we're not gonna." And no offense to anybody, really.
Yeah.
We just have our own path. We've always kind of plotted it, and we take advice. Don't get me wrong. Like, we're not idiots. Like, we listen, and they've got their finger on a pulse of a certain thing. Like, they're heavily involved in choosing the singles. But I mean, the music's got to come from where it's always come from. It can't be different.
Well, I heard the first tune that John sent me. It was, I don't know, again, a month and a half, 2 months ago, and I'm like, okay, again, man, it's still, it's like you're not splitting the atom, but it's still great. It's like it's almost, and hopefully you go, "Oh man, I hope you don't get offended by this comparison, but it's almost like hearing when Europe puts stuff out, they still have the catchy, melody driven, a lot of harmonies. And I'm not saying you guys are like Europe, but it's like that where it's just like you don't go, they're putting another album out, and you just kind of cringe and look for the hit. I mean, you guys put something out, and it's usually stem to stern is boom, there it is, right? So I mean, kudos to you guys for still doing that.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate you saying that. I mean, it's the only thing that really matters. It's like we don't have songs and we don't have a record to record,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then we don't make one, and that's why sometimes it takes 5 years to make one. Because we're like, man, we don't have the ideas, or the ideas are to whatever. They're just not hitting us at the time, or So thank you. I appreciate you saying.
Um, well, and I mean, for
Not
somebody
the
like
Europe part.
me,
No idea what Europe sounds like.
yeah, right. Well, I wasn't comparing you guys to Europe in that sense, but
You
and I
mean
mean,
you mean like the continent, or what are we talking about?
like the final countdown, superstition, like that type of thing. You know what I mean? Well, their album that they had a song called All or Nothing on, and The Prisoner. I mean, it was just like, wow, this still sounds like Europe, and it was like 1994 or something. But and I say that because I mean, you guys for me were a huge part of my upbringing because I mean, I remember like it was yesterday walking into your sound check at the Misty Moon. And us being the kids in Halifax are like, we're pretty good. And then we went, uh, I've only had one other time where I felt like that is when I moved to Toronto and I went to the old RPM. And my first night in Toronto, and Age of Electric was playing, and there's Todd Kearns up there singing, and I'm like, oh my friggin' God, what did we get ourselves into here?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
so
Todd's
I remember the vocals, I remember the playing, I remember the production, I remember all that stuff. Um, you guys all sing, and that's a rare thing these days.
Yeah, maybe. I guess. I mean, I don't know. I guess it depends what kind of music you're listening to, or I think a lot of bands do the backup vocal thing. I mean, especially in this genre, right? I mean, for us anyway, it all stems from right back to our Def Leppard influences and all
Sure.
the bands that tried to do what they nailed back then.
I always like to do the old see if we can tickle Eddie Trunk here for a second or Blabbermouth or whatever, but it's a topic that it comes again, it goes again, it seems to be gaining ground again, and the topic is on backing tracks. And my whole thing is I don't care. I mean, you use them, you use them. It's a skill set. People know, especially as a drummer, it's not an easy skill set to do. Some people are, violently against it. What's your not for Scarem, but your sort of 2 cents on it as anything?
Well, I mean, I think it's, there's a number of angles you can look at it from. Like, I love playing, like, I've been doing a lot of country stuff lately, and I'm playing with larger bands, which is really cool because it makes a much bigger sound. You know what I mean? And to be honest, being in a one guitar player or sometimes two guitar player barely band when Harry's kind of playing, you know what I mean? It's a
Yeah,
lot of pressure, and there's not a lot of so I like playing a track. We're not going to carry a keyboard player with us,
yeah.
and we're producers. We play to a click track. I mean, this is what we do in life, and I don't think and again, this is just my opinion, but to me, it takes away no feel. It takes away nothing. You play to it, it feels great. Every band I play in that I think is killer, that's how everybody does it. You know what I mean? And you got to be able to play. Like the four of us can sit down with acoustic guitars, which we will be doing on our tour, and play the songs and sing all the parts that are there. You know what I mean? We can do it. It's not about that. It's just about enhancing the experience for everybody, including us. Like it's great when you hear keys coming back, and we don't have a keyboard player, but it's nice to have that. It's a nice base for me to play to, especially when I go for a solo and it's me and a bass guitar. It's like, wow, that's really not very inspiring.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm totally cool with it. I really am. As long as it's not a crutch. Like I'm not saying put the main parts. I'm not saying I'm going to put my guitar solos on tape, or you know what I mean, or the bass. I don't know who would do that.
Yeah. Well, I like the consistency myself,
Yeah,
and I like the fact that a number of years ago, I remember Paul Jerry from Extreme saying they used to slow songs down when they played in arenas because they sounded heavier and just little things like that. And I think it's total nonsense. So you can groove to a click track like nobody's business if you know how to do it. So I think it's great.
I think so, man. I mean, time is what it is. You either you play within that or not, right?
Amen.
After all the years of doing this the way we've done it and being a producer, like I said, and all that, there's no room for the feel comes from your hands and everything, but it's all right around where it needs to live, or else it feels wrong, right?
Amen.
Yeah.
Um, So, who do we have on this record? I didn't get to the point where I thought I saw Darren in the pictures.
Yeah.
Who do we have that took part? I mean, obviously you and Harry produced.
Yep. The main, yes, it's Harry and I. We wrote, produced. Creighton is on drums on the record. Darren is doing backup vocals and he sings lead vocals on one tune. Um, Brendan Waters and Ray Coburn are on organ, B3, which we had all over the record. There's some backup vocal guest spots. Pete Dudek is one. Anything else is eluding me at the moment. I play bass.
Nice.
Yeah, that's kind of the deal.
Well, and Halifax's own Creighton Doan, who
That's correct. Yeah.
I've had history with Creighton too, because the very first time as a 16, almost 17-year-old, I went on the road with open for a band that he was in, and it was amazing. And his dad is an absolute legend teaching ukulele. He put that program together here. My girlfriend played in a couple albums that the Mr. Great Chalmers Doan did, so that's amazing.
Yeah.
So I guess last question here, Pete. What expectations? Do you have any? You got it out. It does what it does. It's just you're gonna roll with the punches. What's up?
Yeah. Yeah. We're not, there's no big plan, man. We're just going out on this tour. We're going to, have some fun, go play for a few people that actually give a shit. And then we're going to come home and it's going to be over. That's really the plan at the moment, unless someone tells us otherwise. You know what I mean? There's been a few calls, there's been some talk about maybe doing something in Brazil for the first time ever, or I think Australia was mentioned stuff, but we're just, we're not doing it full time. And it's just really hard to piece together stuff like that. And frankly, unless it makes sense, we're just not all that interested in putting that kind of time in, you know what I mean? So, yeah, it's just, it's all great. Honestly, it's part of the deal. We'll get it done. It'll be over. And then maybe we'll write another one.
And anybody can get this album. If you go to obviously the Frontier site, they can find it. They can find information on the Harem Scarem site, correct?
Yes. Well, yes, whatever. Mostly the Frontier site. There's not really a Harem Scarem site these days.
There you go. Go to the Frontier site. I've heard the first tune, and you won't be disappointed, kids. So, Mr. Lesperance, I want to say thank you so much.
Thank you, Sean.
Nice, we finally got this done, and
oh my lord,
yeah.
And by the way, I remember you guys very well from back in Halifax. You guys were awesome dudes. You were like the Jack Butler band. A great hang.
It was funny because you guys, it was the true story. It was either going to be you guys or Slick Toxic that we got to open for. And Slick Toxic canceled, I think. I don't exactly remember. And I remember you guys coming in, and I got there late to the rehearsal, and I asked one of the guys, how are they? And they're like, oh my God. And then you guys did, well, slowly slipping away, I think, at sound check, and I'm like, oh my God, like frig off. You guys were great, and we learned a lot, man.
To frig off, it's usually for a different reason.
But, yeah, well, no, but I mean, yeah, for a bunch of guys that didn't really get to see that, it was great. It was
thank you, man. That's very kind of you to say.
Yeah, my friend, keep being awesome.
Good chatting.
We're back after this.